Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the laws of Arba Reshus l'Shabbos, the four domains of Shabbos. What constitutes a domain and carrying from one to the other? So we mentioned yesterday the four, which is the private domain, the public, the Carmelis, which is an intermediate area, and a Makom Pator, which is an area which is exempt. So today we're going to define what is a Reshus HaYachid. What is a private domain? Eze Reshus HaYachid. What is a private domain? Makom shu lekol hapachos arba tfachim al arba tfachim. Now it's going to be much smaller than you probably have in mind, but it's an area that's 4 by 4 tfachim. A tefach is only a hand's breadth. That means 4 hands breadths by 4 hands breadths, which is approximately the smallest measurement is 12.6 inches by 12.6 inches. The larger measurement would be 15.2 inches by 15.2 inches. We're talking a little bit over a foot by 1 foot is considered to be a Reshus HaYachid, a private domain. It's enough of a significant amount of space that you could do something there. You could use it for something. And there has to be mechitzas, there have to be walls attached to this thing that are at least 10 tfachim high. 10 tfachim is only going to be at best 31.5 inches to 37.9 inches. Again, not very tall. Even if the walls are not totally complete over here, still there's going to be a way to make it into completely considered a private area. And so too says the Kitzer, if you have a ditch, and it's 10 tfachim deep, so it's this 31.5 inches deep, and it's 4 tfachim wide. It's only a little bit over a foot wide. So that the walls of that ditch are considered to be a mechitza, like a partition over here, and therefore that would also constitute a Reshus HaYachid, a private area. The Chaim Bor, so too a pit in the floor, Shu Amok Asar, that's 10 tfachim deep, V'roichev Dalad Dalad, and it's 4 by 4 tfachim wide. So again, it's 31.5 feet deep, 31.5 inches deep, and it's 12.5 or so inches wide. The chain tail, if you have a mound of dirt, Shu Gavaya Sara, and it's 10 tfachim, it's 10 tfachim high. V'rachav Dalad Dalad, and it's 4 by 4 wide. V'afilu Kli Kegoin Teva, even if you have like a crate, Im Gavaya Sar, if it's 10 tfachim high, again only about 31.5 inches high. Chavi Shu Agol, or you have a barrel that's round, V'yesh bo l'rabeya dalad al dalad, and the circumference of that area is considered to be 4 by 4 tfachim wide. Kol elu afilahem b'reshus harabim, even if you would have these objects in a public area, or the Carmelis, or you have this intermediate area called the Carmelis, nevertheless, they're considered to be standing on their own, and they are to be deemed a Reshus HaYachid, a private domain, even though that they're sitting in a public domain or an intermediate domain. So once that you have these measurements over here, which again is not very large, minimum size 12.6 inches wide by 31.5 inches tall, that already has the halachic status of a Reshus HaYachid, a private domain. And if you would carry from inside of there to outside of there, that would already be transgressing the prohibition of transferring, of carrying on Shabbos. The Avir Reshus HaYachid, what about the airspace of the Reshus HaYachid? Who Reshus HaYachid ad Rekia, it extends and is considered to be the private domain all the way up until the Rekia, all the way up until the sky. As we're going to see the difference between that and Reshus HaRabim, a public domain, the airspace only goes up 10 tfachim, but Reshus HaYachid goes all the way up. V'mechitza is atzman shem mekifa is the Reshus HaYachid, the walls themselves that are enclosing this private domain. Agabehen, also on top of them, Gam Kain Din Reshus HaYachid, even on top of them, the top of the wall is also considered to be Reshus HaYachid. V'achrom shebemechitzais, if there's crevices in the walls of these walls, sheklapi Reshus HaYachid, if they open up into the Reshus HaYachid, into the private domain. Even if there's a hole that goes from one side to the other side, so therefore you have part of the hole is opening up in the private domain, and part of the hole is opening up in the Reshus HaRabim, in the public. Since that you're able to use it like a little shelf in the Reshus HaYachid on the inside, therefore even the hole that's on the outside is still considered to be part of the Reshus HaYachid. However, if the hole is only on the outside, will explain afterwards how that works. If it's on the outside of the wall, even though it's connected to the Reshus HaYachid, is it going to be considered by Reshus HaRabim public domain, or is it going to be considered private domain? But at the end of the day, the chiddush, the novel concept over here that we're learning today is a Reshus HaYachid, a private domain, is a very small area, and therefore a person is going to have to be very careful when it comes to the laws of Shabbos, knowing what constitutes a Reshus HaYachid to make sure that they're not transferring from one domain to the other. Have a wonderful day.